going on, dudes and dudettes? So yeah, I didn't do a video as quickly like last week on Saturday just because the Lakers did lose that game. But before I get into their game that they played last night, I will get into the USC football Pac-12 schedule being released. And weirdly, they play UCLA in the first game when usually that rivalry is placed in the last game or the second to last game, whether it's Notre Dame that year as well. So yeah, it's kind of awkward that it is placed back there, or up there. But I believe the athletic director Mike Bohm said there is some availability to be able to play it later in the season. So USC might not start off September 26th like how it says, but they play the normal people: Cal, Stanford, ASU, Oregon, Washington, Colorado. They kind of backloaded that schedule with some pretty tough games, which of course sucks, but I definitely want to play Oregon State, who's a crappier team. But yeah, it looks pretty good so far. I mean, they could win the South in my opinion, but I'll get into some other reasons why I think maybe USC might not be playing football next month, but I'll say that for later. So the Lakers did get their second W in the bubble officially against the Utah Jazz last night. Wasn't able to watch the game because stupid Sling has these blackout whatever issues, but yeah, luckily they got the W. Came down pretty close to the end, but Anthony Davis ended up with 42 points, as it just seems LeBron is just feeding him more. LeBron did also get like a triple-double with 20 points, but I don't think LeBron is going to turn it up until the playoffs officially start. But I don't understand why you're going to work Anthony Davis this hard already, because he does have an injury history from what I know. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully someone else can step up for them instead of just it being LeBron and Anthony Davis so far in the bubble. But yeah, it's great, and with that win, they clinched the #1 overall seed in the West, which they have not done since 2010, their last title run. But yeah, it just really doesn't make a difference this time around because they're in the bubble. There's no real home field advantage. So I think it's just better when it comes to matchups-wise, especially after once you get to the second round. Because the first round, if you're the #1 seed, you'll most likely be playing New Orleans, Portland, maybe Dallas if they lose a couple more games. But yeah, I prefer to go against New Orleans in my opinion, but they've been kind of struggling here and there. They finally got their first W. But yeah, I would definitely prefer to play New Orleans over Memphis and Portland. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, and speaking of why I think the team or USC won't be playing in September 26th, is because the about 400 Pac-12 players of all the football teams around there sent out a memo in the Players Tribune saying that they wanted certain things to be able to get done before they start a season. So of course, health, regulatory stuff, and even stuff coming down to their likeness and everything, getting paid for that, just because they know their families are going through a tough time right now during COVID as well. And of course, college football makes billions of dollars that they keep for themselves, but it is some pretty crucial, harsh demands. And so far, it's only one conference that's put out something like this. Other conferences are just delaying a bit, but we'll see if they agree to the certain things that the Pac-12 players put out there, or if they just end up not canceling their fall season until the spring. But one player, as of right now, one USC player was one of those 400 guys that we know of, and Chase Williams, the safety or defensive back from USC. And yeah, I mean, I read through it. It's a lot of good stuff, but it's probably will be tough to get done if it's just one conference asking for that type of thing. But we'll see how this goes. It's very fluid. So Zion Williamson returned yesterday. He had 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. did very well and actually did play towards the end of the game. This time, unlike the first game when the bubble started, but against the Clippers, their second game he couldn't just because it was a big time blowout. They're losing by 30-40 points, so of course they're not going to put him back in the game, which I understood, but definitely glad they changed their minds about holding his minutes back, and definitely glad he was able to get something going. And it was great to see too, just because there's definitely a lot of Duke flavor in that game with the Pelicans playing the Memphis Grizzlies. It was awesome, man. Grayson Allen, one of my favorite Duke players, of course, he went off, almost had 20 points, definitely was close to it. And yeah, it was great. It's definitely like 8 to 9 guys just from Duke on both teams combined, so definitely a fun watch for me. And then also Anthony Beavers Jr., a athlete 4-star guy coming into USC. Apparently he is foregoing his senior season as well and will enroll early at USC just because he thought it benefited him more than to just wait to see if a California football time during the spring or early January would even start next year. So congrats. I'm definitely glad he's officially on the team. He looks like a good player, and welcome to USC Fight On. And then also we have Duke players right now returning to campus for the first time. They're going to go through checkups, most likely quarantining as well, just to get ready for the summer workouts because they've been pushed back a little bit. But yeah, hopefully everything's copacetic with those guys, and we'll get the season going hopefully by the fall, if not the spring, like most all these sports will start. And then ex-USC wide receiver Marquise Lee, who had recently signed with the Patriots a couple months ago, has decided to opt out of the NFL season if it does happen this year, just because of health issues going towards his family and definitely his younger children as well. So I understand, and at least Bill Belichick, the head coach of the Patriots, understands as well. I mean, but he's had the most guys opt out so far of the season from his team. It's pretty crazy. You would think he would try to get the season stopped, but we'll see how this goes, and hopefully they'll push back football a couple months and try to create a bubble like the NBA did themselves. And to finish this video off, so Ryan Getzlaf, the top old veteran player for the Anaheim Ducks, has been there quite a bit, recently put up his Orange County mansion up for sale for like $10 million plus. So maybe that's a sign that he could be leaving soon, or could be traded soon. We'll see how this story goes, but I think it's definitely time to move on, kind of like they did with Corey Perry last year. I just wish that they traded Perry because he obviously did contribute to Dallas this year. You could have got something back for him, but we'll see what Getzlaf can get us back for, because maybe he still has something left in the tank. And then a couple of Duke guys been doing really well for their teams. Harry Giles from the Sacramento Kings, he's gotten a lot more playing time because of another ex-Duke player. Marvin Bagley went down with injury, but he recently set a new points record for himself career-wise, which is pretty cool. And yeah, he's just been great. He was the number one guy coming out of high school. His story is, every time I see him, it's always upsetting just because of how great he could have been. He was looked at the next generational type of guy, but 3 ACL surgeries, and even barely played while he was at Duke, but still was a first round pick the following year. And yeah, you see that glimpses of athleticism and playmaking ability, but I couldn't just imagine with a guy with that who had even more confidence how great he could be. But definitely glad he's still sticking with it and doing what he could. And then another guy who I was really high on when he came out is Gary Trent Jr., guy I wanted the Lakers to draft, try to keep him away from teams like this, especially in the West, but of course they didn't listen to me. And he's been getting better every single season so far, and he's now playing what I think is like starters minutes. I don't know if he officially starts or not for the Portland Trailblazers, but he's definitely getting up there when it comes to minutes and playing in crunch time late in games as well. And they definitely trust him because he can shoot the 3 ball, and That's what you need in this league, and that's why I wanted him for the Lakers. But of course, they don't listen to me, and now he's shining, as the topic says, for the Portland Trailblazers. So I'm definitely happy about his success, and good luck to him and everything. And then DeMar DeRozan, an ex-USC shooting guard, did very well his first game back in the bubble. He had 27 points, 10 assists. He's been pretty solid for the San Antonio Spurs. I would prefer him to be on a different team, especially the Lakers, because I think he fit very well. But there was a pretty crazy story I saw on Instagram saying that while these teams are in this bubble in Orlando, that they're trying to create a 4-player super team, which is insane. And of course, it involves the Lakers and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, so they would still stay with the Lakers. And they're trying to recruit Paul George from the Clippers, which I kind of thought was crazy at first, but when it comes to contract-wise, it's not, because I think it's either this offseason coming up or the next one he's eligible to be a free agent. So he could just try to do that and come to the Lakers as well, which I see, and they would probably just move on from Kyle Kuzma or trade him away for cash or draft picks that they would just eventually let go of, because you need a little bit of money to pay a guy like Paul George. But then a guy they also said they would add together with that mix to make 4 guys was Chris Paul, which to me is kind of insane, just because he has about 2 or 3 years left on that deal, and they're like 30 plus $30 plus million every single year for that type of player who's already in his mid-30s. And yeah, he's been playing great, has Oklahoma City playing well, even though no one thought they would even finish in the top of their division, but they're still in the playoffs right now. He would be a great asset to play with LeBron. I just don't see money-wise how it works out unless he gets a buyout from OKC, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just don't see that happening. But a guy I mentioned, DeMar DeRozan, playing with guys like LeBron and AD, I think benefits them both, because he can still handle the ball and get you assists. Like, he had 10 assists in that last game. And then he's more of like a mid-range guy too, so you don't have to worry about him taking up all the threes, and he can space the floor a lot as well. So yeah, that's would definitely be my super team for the Lakers. But thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye on.